had the original idea that I didn't really want to do LSD anymore. Like, I was kind of over it. In retrospect, it wasn't that bad. What's up, guys? Sorry I'm a bit late. Happy Sunday. Today is definitely one of those days where I need to have a beer and talk to you guys. Who knows? Maybe this will become a new thing. But we gotta talk, guys. So, I took some acid yesterday. For the first time in over 2 years. And it was fun. So let's start from the beginning. This tab has been saved since Coachella 2014 or 15. Little backstory. All my friends took these same exact tabs and had crazy intense trips at Coachella to the point where I had to hold Danny Boy's hand at one point and walk him out of a stage. This was like 3 years ago. That's how old these tabs are, how long we've been sitting on them, how long my cousin has been sitting on them. He actually gave it to me this last Coachella I went to, and I never took it. I've had them sitting in my room since Coachella, which is about 5 months now, and I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and somehow I got the confidence to take it. It was... The plan was, I talked to Monica about it. She knows that I've been wanting to take some acid. Yesterday was everything just aligned right. Monica took the girls and went down the hill for the day, and I woke up and prepared myself and took some acid. I made sure to clean up my whole house real good, clean up the studio area because I wanted to trip in here. I wasn't tripping with anybody. I just took it by myself. My brother was here for like the first 15 minutes after I took it, but he left. He had to go to work. It was pretty crazy, to say the least. I took it right at noon yesterday, and it was scary. I forgot what it's like to have a tab on your tongue. I completely forgot I used to do it, but every time I had a tab on my tongue, I would put it in my mouth, bend it in half, and squeeze any acid I can out of it, and I just naturally did that, and it was a trip. That was just the first thought I had when I put it on my mouth. So I took it at 12. I downloaded some music that I wanted to listen to. I had a few ideas of different things I wanted to do. I downloaded a movie. I had a few little bookmarks of different websites and stuff I wanted to check out. I've just recently bought this virtual reality headset for my phone, and I wanted to fuck with that also. It was really just something I wanted to do to try to just get, I guess, back on the horse in a sense, get my confidence back. And it was and it wasn't that. As I started coming up, I started getting these old feelings of I'm going somewhere else. The sense of of myself, it was started to float away a little bit. I started to just think of things differently, and it was kind of scary in that sense because I'm in such a good place right now, probably the best time of my life, honestly, and to somehow have that change was kind of scary. And I remember I just kept thinking that. I've always been very introspective when it comes to psychedelics and wanting to better myself, and well, not always, but I have been lately, and I feel like I went into the trip expecting too much. I went into the trip just with too much comparison. I kept comparing the whole time, and it was very hard to just let go and be in the moment. I've never done acid by myself. That was the first time I ever did it alone, and it was definitely different than eating mushrooms by myself. I had so much energy, and I just didn't want to just lay there. I wanted to physically move my body around, and definitely different than eating mushrooms. So I go back noon, I take the tab, 15-20 minutes after my brother leaves, I start closing my blinds, darkening the room, putting on some lights and shit. And first thing I did was play, I listened to the intro of the Bass Nectar album, the new one, and that fucking got me in the zone for sure. Then I think I went into Kid Cudi, Man on the Moon, and from there I just played the Dark Side of the Moon album all the way through, which was in itself fucking crazy. I never heard that album that way. The intricate sounds and just the rhythm of it and the journey it takes you on. It was fucking crazy. I've listened to the album tripping before, but I don't think I've heard it like that as I was coming up with these fucking JBL speakers right in my face, closing my eyes. Like, it was amazing. I will never forget that. I'll never fucking listen to that album again the same. Halfway through the album, I started getting confident. I forget which song it was, but it has like a rhythm to it, and I had to like get up, and I literally was in this room basically dancing alone, and it was so freeing. And I completely remembered like how different LSD and mushrooms are. But I felt great in that moment. I smoked a shitload. I smoked so much weed I had to kind of stop because I was like, God damn, I'm smoking too much. Like, my shit's gonna be gone. Speaking of, so as I'm smoking, listening to the Dark Side of the Moon, I turn over and I remember my virtual reality headset shit. And that was a struggle in itself to get that right, because it's not like you just plug it in and you go. You have to set up your phone, you have to put it in this little case, you have to set it in, you have to fuck with the lenses and stuff. It's funny, I was sitting there thinking like, God, this already feels like old to me. Like, it feels like old technology. Like, I can tell, like, I like in 10 years, like, if I show that to somebody, they're gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit? Cheap ass old fucking technology, put a phone in there. Nah, virtual reality is about to take over. But anyways, I'm struggling to put that together. I finally get it going, and I pick the best possible choice ever, because there's a lot of different videos and things that you could watch when you're in the virtual reality programs and shit. And I chose this one that was basically like you're flying through space, and I'll link to it. But you're flying through space and there's like people and offices and buildings and shit like that, and it goes into these crazy fucking patterns. I was not expecting that at all. I know that it's been said for years and years and years, the Dark Side of the Moon is meant to be listened to on acid. Like, they made it that way. Like, they fucking if you watch this movie at the same time you play the album, it syncs up. And I've always been like, shut the fuck up. Like, that's stupid. But I think that Pink Floyd made that album for that 360 virtual reality video. Because I fucking swear to God, that shit was synced up so fucking perfectly. It was scary. I literally had to like take them off a couple times because I started panicking. It was the most intense fucking just virtual reality experience I've ever had. Probably twice as intense as the fucking Antarctic Dome shit. The Antarctic Dome was more, it did hit me more like inside because of probably because I was on shrooms, but this one was so intense it felt like a roller coaster, like a ride, and I fucking physically like had to stop because I was panicking and because I started to get sick, like dizzy and just woozy. But it ended with the album perfectly. After that, I did another one where it was like you're in a 360 video and there's people around you, and then all of a sudden you just take off into the sky and you go higher and higher and you start to see like the world, and then you go above the clouds and you're basically in the stars and space. And that was fucking crazy. And I hope you're starting to see why I said in the beginning that it was fun, that this trip was fun, because that's the best way to describe it. I don't feel like I learned much. I don't think, it's been what, 24 hours. It felt like I was grasping for something that I didn't get. And I think that was because I went in with expectations. I went in comparing, And I didn't allow the experience to come to me like I should have. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that it's just, I don't know, like, I'm content right now. I'm happy. Like, I love how I think, how my life is, and where I'm at. I don't think I've ever really done psychedelics while I was in a good place. And I don't know what it's like to trip on psychedelics and not have something I need to deal with, or I need to figure out, if that makes sense. So it was different, very different. It was mostly positive. There were a lot of times where I would get caught up in my head, but for the most part, it was all good. I had a lot of fun. After I listened to the album and did the virtual reality shit, I ended up, I watched this weird spectral video shit and listened to more music. Started listening to some of my music, which was intense. The track that I made called LSD, which probably some of you guys may know, I'll link to it. You can click in the top right. It's a song that I wrote while I was tripping balls. I recorded the day after I was tripping balls. And since then, I've never heard it while I was tripping. It made so much fucking sense. It was just like, wow. I listened to Lucy in the Sky with Diamond and Strawberry Fields Forever. That was amazing. It definitely reminded me of one of the first times I've ever tripped, because it's been so long. And, I resorted to the basics, like listening to the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon album. Like, that's something you do your first time tripping. Listening to the Beatles, like, that's beginner shit. And it was amazing. And I think the only mistake I made was just going in with expectations, comparing too much, not allowing the trip to come to me. And that's really it. After I listened to more music, I ended up playing fucking Max Payne 3, and that was fucking crazy. I was like literally like on that game for probably like 3 hours straight. And I fucking remember thinking, like, every time I would kill somebody, like a character out of the game, I'd be like, damn, he's never gonna see his family again. He's never gonna see his kids again. All these fucking people I'm just straight murdering and shit, and I'm like feeling for them, and I'm like, damn, but I gotta do this, I gotta save this person. I was into it. It was fucking cool. It was fun as fuck. And there were even times where that shit, it was like glitch. And if you guys play video games, sometimes those glitches are fucking hilarious. Like at one point, like, I was walking and the ground disappeared and it was just straight see-through, and it was like the funniest shit ever. There was one point where I like dived, because you can dive on Max Payne 3 to shoot, and I dove and I did this weird spinning thing, and it was just, I could not stop laughing. I felt like a crazy trippy fucking acid head laughing alone in his room. But it was fucking hilarious. That was so much fun to play that game. After that, it kind of started, fading off. And see, this is one of the bigger things. And I know for the most part, I've been talking about how, it was positive and good. I felt like, but I don't know. See, this is the trouble with doing a trip story, like 24 hours after I trip, because everything's kind of still processing for me. Now, there were moments, like, for sure, where I felt that, like, cool warmth. And I've mentioned it in videos in the past, but I feel like when you get on a really, really good level, no matter what drug it is, you feel this, like, cool warmth throughout your body. And it's like a blissful, just overwhelming satisfaction that you feel throughout your whole body, or I feel. And I did feel that a lot. I think I just went in with too much expecting something that I didn't get, and that was a mistake. So for now, it was definitely something I needed, in a sense that I needed to do it because I've been wanting to do it. It's been on my mind, and it was fun. It was cool. It was not something I've ever done before, like tripped and played video games and virtual reality shit. Like, that's kind of weird, but it was kind of like my last, like when I did DMT, in a sense. Like it was good in the fact that I was able to experience, not go too deep, and, you know, kind of dip my toe back in the water, so to speak, get my feet wet. Is that a thing? Get my feet wet? I think so. And you know what's crazy is, like, before I made this video, I always think about my titles usually around before or during when I make them, and my overall perception of the trip was not necessarily negative, but kind of like, what was the point of that? I had the original idea that I didn't really want to do LSD anymore. Like, I was kind of over it. And talking now, and kind of just in retrospect, you know, it wasn't that bad. It lasted a long time, which is weird, but it really wasn't that bad. So, yeah. This is usually why I wait longer than 24 hours to make trip stories, because they end up being kind of confusing at first. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really have a moral here. I didn't really learn much, except for the fact that, you know, I need to go in to an experience with a better mind state. I need to focus more on that. Not necessarily focus on my physical surroundings, which were 100% great, but I think that I need to prepare myself mentally better. But yeah, guys, thank you to everybody supporting on Patreon. Without you guys, I would not be able to make these videos. Right now, obviously, we're still in the beginning stages of growing. There's a lot of cool stuff that you can do on Patreon. All you got to do is go to the website. You pay a certain, like $1 or $2 or whatever you want a month, and you get different perks. For only $2 a month, you actually get your name featured at the end of the video. So you'll see an example of that. Check it out, guys. I really need your support in being able to just make these videos more consistently like this, and hopefully bringing some better quality for some full-length documentaries, like hour-and-a-half long movies that I really want to start working on, because I have so much footage. Yeah, so that's the future. I really appreciate you guys who are already there. If you would like to support, you'll see a link at the end at the top right to check it out. You can go to the link in the description. It's patreon.com/audible484. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all. This has been awesome just talking to you guys, and it was definitely a different type of trip, but it was fun. So smoke something, drink something, and I will see you guys on Wednesday when we have a new blunted coming, and that'll be fun. So peace out. And if you didn't watch the leaked episode of Game of Thrones yet, watch it tonight when it comes on, or in a couple hours when it comes on, or it already came on, and yeah, that shit happened. Damn.